What's up, otakus? It's tour guide here. How's everyone doing tonight? There's nobody in. Uh, that's okay. We're used to that. Um, so, what's this video about? Well, it was announced that Jim Lee is coming to Rose City Comic Con in September. So, all hands on deck. We are planning to go to that event. The question is, well, it's not matter. I mean, it is a question at the moment, but the intent is to do 6 signature books, and that means I have to buy probably 3 book packages. Now, if the cost of doing 6 books is, let's say, more than getting a book like remarked or, you know, um, like a blank cover remarked or something, that's something we may pursue as well, because I have ideas about that as well. But this is just a video to celebrate that fact. We're going to go to a Jim Lee signature event later this year. He's coming to Portland, and whether he comes to Seattle or not, it's looking like he's not. The fact that he's coming to Portland, we did miss him last time he came to Portland, but we're going to go this time. I am going to work this summer again, much like I did last summer, just part-time, like weekends, and devote all that income to the Portland event. So we'll have to see how much we actually earn. But, this past summer we earned, a considerable amount. So we're expecting around that as well. So we're talking like, somewhere between $2,000 to $3,000 just devoted to comics, which is pretty nice. Now, will I be targeting like slab comics? No, but we'll target some big books. There's a lot of like keys raw. I'm gonna try to get them raw, but a lot of raw keys that I still want to pick up. Maybe we'll pick up some that. There's a couple Jim Lee signature books I want to pick up as well. That maybe have to be off eBay or somewhere, but that's where our head is right now. So yeah, all the focus right now is going to be on that again signature signing event, and we're kind of what I wanted to spend this time doing is, first of all, showing you my Jim Lee signature books that I have in the collection, and then going through sort of my picks for potential candidates to get signed. So we're just going to go through a lot of like key Jim Lee books, and hopefully kind of, for me, it's just an exercise in reminding myself, because I put out a video recently where I kind of settle on 3 books that, if this was before the announcement was made, but I said, I was anticipating he might come to Emerald City or something to that effect. And in that event, I said, these are the books you'd want to get signed. And I landed on 3 books. But now that it's official, I kind of want to do an inventory of what I have in terms of his key books. And kind of put together a list. Again, we're targeting 6 books. If we really have the bandwidth, we may even get 9 books signed. And I don't know how Jim will take that. At a guy coming up, spending all at that kind of money to get 9 books signed and meet him. I'm hoping he'll, you know, just. I plan to get my book signed very last too. Um, that's kind of what I did last time. This way, he doesn't feel rushed. I don't feel like I'm rushing him, and we can have a nice conversation. You can take time, and then he's more apt to, if I say, could you draw the DC Bullet logo when you sign president of DC Comics? He's more apt to say, yeah, sure, and accommodate. So I don't mind waiting. I don't mind going last. I mean, I've pretty much been waiting like this entire time. It's been what, almost 2.5 years, 3 years. It'll be 3 years since the last signing event. So I don't mind waiting, in line a couple more hours to just get that sort of stress-free, time-free, not that I don't want people waiting behind me. I want to have enough time for him to say, okay, we're done here. Boom. Uh, not feel like I'm taking up anybody else's time. Okay, having said that, let's kind of go through the Jim Lee signatures I have in my collection. I'm actually missing one more. Let me get it. I guess we'll start with the biggest and smallest signatures in my collection. The biggest being this nice print of Batman Catwoman #8. It's a Christmas cover. They're under the mistletoe, it looks like. And Catwoman's going in for a smooch. We got Joker, the Christmas tree back here. It's a pretty funny cover, I guess. So we got Jim's signature on this print here. Again, this was related to that event I did where we did 3 books. Got this as well. And the 3 books we got signed, I'll just show them off right now. We got Batman 608 second print signed, the mirror of which is Superman 204. And got that signed and sketched. He sketched a little Superman S, sketched a little Batman, both their chest logos, which is really cool. And I had planned it that way, and it executed perfectly. So that was really nice. The other book we got signed in that event was X-Men 248. Got a 9.6 on this. But this is his first work on the X-Men. And really significant book considering where he took this run, the popularity of this run. Anybody who was collecting, this is my, collecting era. And I actually didn't get this issue. I got issue 258. Five issues later. And that was sort of my introduction to Jim Lee. And I was just, hey, what's up? And so when I read that comic book, I was just like, who's this Jim Lee person? Because it was just eye candy from page to page. Now, this is a little bit earlier on in the run, but he kind of comes into his own with the X-Men, and just really owns it with his dynamic art style. Um, and then, of course, he makes history uh, with X-Men volume, the second volume. It's a parallel volume, actually. Uncanny and then just X-Men. The next signature I recently got was this Wildcats card. It's a foil card with the gold 90 signature there. Pretty cool pickup. So yeah, we have quite a few Jim Lee signature stuff here. Let me continue to show you what we have. This one is this signature here is part of a pin set that I got. It's a limited edition pin set, 90 signature. I'm not going to pull the pin out, but that's something we got this past summer. It's a limited edition. It's got it's basically the whole connecting cover of the X-Men in one image, one long sort of wide landscape portrait, landscape image. Love that pin. It's just 90s goodness through and through. And the other two books, let me get them out here. So I essentially have, let me get them in order here. I've got three of the four connecting covers here signed by Jim Lee. So I'm only missing one. That's the A cover, the Storm Beast, Psylocke, and Professor X, and Iceman on that cover. And I'm planning to get that one, this 90s signed version of that. So these are 90s signatures, and I'm specifically picking up the Comic Express sort of COA on these books. There's a lot of them out there, so I'm not like worried. I'm not, it's not like one of those rare things. This thing was popping back in the 90s. Jim Lee went on tour, throughout the country, and people were getting their copies signed. So there are a lot of these signed copies available. So, but here, this is special. We got Jim Lee and Stan Lee to sign this copy here. This is a special copy. Again, the 90s signature in gold there. We got another one, Jim Lee 90s signature in gold. Again, the Comic Express version. We also got this nice X-Men #1, best-selling comic of all time. This was sort of a thank you note to the retailers who bought all the X-Men ones. And then we have this cool belt signature in silver of the Magneto cover. So all cool 90s signatures. I'm not going to take this fourth copy of this and say, could you sign it in the 90s style? I just, again, there's enough copies of that 90s signature Storm Beast book for me to go out and just buy it and add it, and then complete my set. All right, what else do we have here? Got so many books. Just put these over here. We've got this was I think it was part of a trade. Oh no, I got this from Norenrad for $20. It was a Fantastic Four, Jim Lee. Pretty cool cover there. Yeah, I thought $20. That's worth that. This one I think we paid 30 or $40 for as well. It's sort of a 90s modern kind of mix. It was probably like in the latter part of the 90s when he was kind of transitioning his signature. Very unique signature. You don't see this signature all that often. But this is kind of his 90s signature in one motion, and then he really adopts the one motion kind of like modern signature. This morphs into this, which morphs into a really curvy sort of Jim Lee signature. So we have those there. We also have this Justice League. This is a nice modern curvy signature right there. And I'm not sure who wrote this part here. But I recall that might be like David Finch's signature, which doesn't make sense on that book. And we did get a 9/8 slab this past summer. I got it because I thought this book was going to be like just a big book, years from now when Jim Lee retires and people look back on his career, his legacy in comics. I think this book's going to stand out as one of his, like, what people are going to focus on and say, yeah, that's a great book. It's one of his crowning sort of achievements in terms of working on a title, on a significant milestone, and that is Action Comics 1000. Got the signature there, 9/8. This is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive variant. It's a foil cover with this beautiful DC foil back, just nice and shiny, and love that representation of Superman. Just a classic look on that. I love that they kept the classic look for that. What's up, Naman Young? How you doing? Thanks for joining. Rose City Comic Con will be in September, so if you're out here, let's hit that together. Jim Lee's coming. He's coming. And that's what this whole thing is about. We're just doing a kind of an inventory check on what we could take there. Yes, he's coming. He's gonna sign. He's signing books. So I am just gonna go through kind of the stuff in my collection right now, and I guess we'll land on. That's cool. Okay. I guess we'll land on. No, he's going to be in a separate private signing area. And he's only coming for Saturday. He's not doing all 3 days. He's only coming up doing all Saturday signings. I think he might do a panel or something if they have that. Yep, it's going to cost. Again, I'm anticipating one book's going to be about $50, or sorry, about $50 to $60. 3 books, 130 to 150, maybe more now with inflation. But I'm planning to get up to 6 to 9 books signed, which is like, a big budget. I wish they had something like that where they would just, all right, dude, you gotta quit texting me stuff. Um, so we'll go over books now that I think are, well, we're going to go over like what I think are generally keys and some of his favorite uh, books in my collection. And I guess we'll start here. Now, this one is not really candidate because I got his first appearance signed. This is a second print, and all that's different really is this came out, much later, and it's got a gold cover rather than the sort of pink background. I mean, it'd be nice to get this signed, but given all the other books in my collection, this is not really high on the priority list. But I do like this book. It's a nice variation or variant of his first work on X-Men. This is, I think, probably my favorite book of his in the Punisher run, his Punisher War Journal run. And it's his last book in that run. And I don't know, I think having his signature would really, it would just feel good. I do like the Punisher. It is a great cover. Punisher War Journal 19. His sort of bon voyage to the run. He did some great work on this book. Really kind of led that transitioned him into being selected to work on the X-Men. So and this is a really nice copy. It's a high grade copy. So I don't know. This is definitely a candidate. So we're gonna kind of keep a tab. He made, well, in Baltimore he was on the floor, right? And he did it several days, correct? Or did he just come for one day? Because my understanding in this signing, he's going to just come in for one day and just do a private room signing. So he's going to be in his own room. People are going to wait in line. And okay, yeah, then it's the same. Yeah, probably doesn't want to be on the floor. All right, so this is actually, we're considering it. This could actually be something we pursue. I'm going to put the pursue books right here in front of me. All right, so continuing on, we've got, there's so many great covers in the Batman Hush run. And this is just $1 cover, but it's such a beautiful book. I think this cover is, again, one of his best works in the run. And sort of this split image, half Batman, half Hush. Just a nice. Yeah, I'm not. You want to join? Can you join? I always wondered about that. You want a link of this? You want a link of this? Yeah, I'll put it in the chat right now. Here we go. Can you join? If you can join, By all means, please do. Oops. What's going on here? There we go. All right, I'm gonna send it to you right now. All right, I guess I can put my headphones on. You're gonna join? What's up, Glenn? Thanks for joining, guys. All right, Young, if you're going to join, I have my headphones on. All right, so, yeah, no interface. That's what I thought. We got to figure this out. So I'd love to do a live stream with you guys. Yeah, Glenn, good evening. All right, so like I was mentioning, there are a lot of great covers in this Batman Hush run. This is another one we'd like to get signed, but in terms of it's just a reprint of 608. It's a reprint dollar comic cover of 608. Again, I think it's standalone in terms of the cover. It's one of the best in the run, but not a big book. So I think we have some bandwidth to maybe hold off on this book. Here are some other candidates from the Hush run. We got the Rogues. It's basically what do you call it? A fold-out cover of connecting images. Sort of really Jim's forte, just to do a kind of a long-running image. Beautiful Poison Ivy there. All the villains. It's a villain's rogue cover. All the variants for 619 are really good. We also have this second print. I have 2 copies of this. This is my high grade copy. I also have sort of a mid grade copy. This is a second print of 619. Yeah, Jim Lee stuff is the best. These are both, candidates for the signature series. This is another one. It unfolds to, sort of a interconnecting gatefold cover. Really cool image here. We got Superman and Nightwing and folks in the back. Yeah, it's a really nice cover. Again, 619 has a bunch of cool covers. We could get that signed. Those are all in play. I'm not trying to close the door on anything here. This is a book that I mentioned. This is sort of a long-term project. I may just pull the trigger on it, though, since we have Jim Lee in front of us, rather than wait. I may put this in the front of the queue and just get it done. What we want to do on this book is get Larry Hama's signature, which we already got this summer. We want to get Mark Silvestri's signature, which we've yet to, there's nothing on the horizon for him, except maybe a CGC. I'm sure he'll do like a CGC signature event where they're going to charge $100 some bucks to get it slabbed. We'll see about that. But on the very, back of this book, there's a pinup, a Jim Lee Wolverine pinup. Wolverine in the yellow suit, sort of like I think they homage that cover, or they did a cover of it. Marvel kind of always takes Jim Lee images and puts them on books. But anyway, that Wolverine pinup, we wanted to get signed. We want him to sign the pinup. get Mark Silvestri's signature here and have it be a triple signed book on this one. And that's in play right now at the moment. Because, again, assuming we get 6 to 9 books signed, this would definitely, I think, be among the 9 books, 6 or 9 books. We have yet to see. I don't know if they have a limit. They may have a limit on how many one individual can purchase, but I'm hoping the limit is 9 because I don't want to go beyond 9. But I definitely think 6 is definitely in play. I mean, going to get 6 no matter what. We'll see if we can get 9 books signed. This is a tough one because this is, first of all, this is Action Comics #1. It's a facsimile, and it's the Loot Crate edition. And the Loot Crate edition comes with this DC COA that's actually signed here. The COA is signed by Jim Lee, the publisher here. You can see Jim's signature right there. This is when he was sort of the creative, chief creative officer. Sort of the reason I got this book, but it comes in a poly bag, as you can see. And the COA is in the poly bag, and it's poly bagged. So if I were to get this book signed, I'd have to rip open the poly bag, which I don't mind doing. I don't want to do it, but to get a signature, I'd have to. And then just encase the COA, again, in a backing board, and we'd have the signature. So just would take an extra step of having to get out of the bag, have it signed, and then put it back in with the COA. And this would be nice because I've said we want to get DC books signed where it's like Jim Lee, the president of DC Comics. And yeah, that would be a really nice one to have, actually. We're going to do that. All right, so this automatically moves up the queue. We're going to unwrap this, have it signed, and have an Action Comics 1 signed by the president of DC Comics, Jim Lee. Even though he didn't, I mean, technically, this is sort of like my signature and Jim Lee's connection with the book, but if we can get the actual signature, I think I'd have a pretty close to a 101 because there aren't too many of those in circulation, I don't think. So yeah, you know, in that regard, talking about Jim Lee being the president of DC Comics, we were thinking, you know, like what DC books in our collection would we want to get? I mean, that Jim Lee has nothing to do with, that we could get signed just by the mere fact it's a DC book. You know, it's kind of like having Stan sign something that's Marvel. Doesn't matter what, because you know Stan kind of was leading Marvel. That's a good question. I wonder if what that process looks like, sending a book directly to Jim Lee at DC Comics. Cool. Eight Sigs, exclusive lithograph. Chance to win 2 headshot. Ooh, okay. So I might do the platinum. That makes sense. Platinum. Yeah. I'll do a platinum if they offer that. So 8 signatures, that works out perfectly. Okay. But back to my point, when Jim Lee was announced as the president of DC Comics, I just thought, how cool would it be to just get Jim Lee to sign a DC book? Like Jim Lee, president of DC. And of course the DC would be the DC Bullet logo from the era I was collecting. Because I love that logo. It's just such a classic uh, Copper Age logo. And anyone who's going to a convention and can get a Batman 619 signed by Scott. Uh, like, Glenn, where are you? Are you in the Pacific Northwest? That's tough. I don't know. Scott Williams doesn't really do the con circuit all that often. And if he is doing the con circuit, it's usually with Jim at like San Diego Comic Con or New York Comic Con. But like some of these regional cons, he's not necessarily traveling to do that. But I know they'll probably have a CGC signature event later this year. So if you want to send it in to get slabbed and pay all that extra money, you're free to do that. Montana, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. You just might have to do the CGC signature event. Might be your only hope to get Scott Williams to sign something like that. Yeah, I don't think Scott's coming to Portland. He's definitely not coming to Emerald City. I didn't see anything announced, and Emerald City's in like 2 months. So unless they're waiting last minute to announce him, I don't think he's coming to Emerald either. Not that I would have gone to Emerald. I'm not. Emerald is really expensive this year. It's like $75 for one day. So this one's not cheap either. Rose City with tax and the surcharge, it's going to be $64. Sorry, just with the surcharge, it's going to be 64. With tax, it's probably going to be close to 70. So that's a steep. But Jim Lee's coming. We got to pay it. So just bite the bullet and do it. All right. So like this would be a great book, I think, to get signed by Jim. Kind of in the same vein. It's just like get Jim Lee's signature. Jim Lee, president of DC Comics. Just a cool, and it'd have to be on a Superman book. The reason being, it's like, yeah, he's the president of DC Comics, but people don't realize like he's a Korean American who's heading one of the biggest publishing, companies, print publishing companies in the country. So, and DC spans farther than that, and their business is mainly licensing now, and it's not necessarily comic books. It's more licensing and characters and movies. But that's a big deal for an immigrant to, have the kind of career he's had with the talent he's had and reach really a sort of pinnacle executive C-suite level position. And, like who's the, coolest immigrant in comic books? It's Superman, right? He's the original immigrant hero. So I think that'd just be a cool. So I don't know if we're going to get this one necessarily signed, but we've made the decision. This is getting signed now. I want this signed by Jim, president of DC Comics, with the DC Bullet logo. We're not going to get it slabbed or anything. We're just going to have it in our collection. Yeah, that's going to be freaking awesome. I'm so excited for that. This was a book that we want to get signed as well. It's just a beautiful cover. And again, not something you see every day. It's Amazing Heroes. Really clean copy I got here. this was just right around, the milestone of 8 million copies sold. Yeah, and love the Psylocke. Love that Psylocke image there. Oof, ooh la la. Oh man, Jim, you hurt me. But we'll see. This is definitely like on the cusp of books we could get signed. Um, but I just like there's a lot of calculus that goes into what we should get signed. Part of it is like, is it a big key book? I would say this is a pretty big key book in terms of Jim Lee covers. Um, the other is how if when you look out in the market, everybody's getting Wolverine 27 signed. Everyone's getting X-Men 1 signed. Everyone's getting Jim Lee's first work on X-Men signed. Um, so my the way I approach it is like, part of it is like, yeah, we want to get those big keys signed. The other part is like, we want to get a key signed that not everybody's getting signed. And, it's something like, at the end of the day, when you look at it, not too many people are going to have it. Not too many people are going to say, hey, I have this book signed by Jim Lee. And that's kind of where I am. I already have a couple of those books, but I'm just saying, we want to continue to add stuff like that. And I know for a fact, I mean, there may be copies floating out there with Jim Lee's signature on this. I'm sure I'm not the first one to say, oh, I want Jim Lee's signature on Action Comics 1, but it's not going to be the first thing to come to mind when you go to a Jim Lee's signing, right? So I think this is like a good no-brain kind of candidate for signature. This one, though, I think is going to have a lot of people wanting to have signed. But then again, I haven't seen too many of these signed copies out there. This is sort of a book that's not as prevalent, um, you know, but it is just it's a magnificent, it's a magnificent cover. So right now, this is on like the cusp. We're just going to put it to the side, and I'm sure we're going to get to 8 books really quick, 8 or 9 books really quick. So we're going to see. Yeah, Scott Williams will be at New York City Comic Con. So whoever's going to go to that, um, give my man Glenn, uh, contact him and help him out, man. That'd be great. All right, I mentioned there were some other books in the Batman Hush run. Now I got the second print 608 signed, but I think 608 itself is not a bad book to get signed. But there's just going to be a gajillion of these. There's a gajillion of these probably signed. I really want this one signed just because I love Superman. This is just, it's such a telling. Everybody says, "Oh, Batman is smarter than Superman," and could, I don't know who I think it was Frank Miller who got people into believing, yeah, Batman's a cooler character. Batman could take Superman out. Use kryptonite and his detective-like skills to take out one of the smartest, most powerful people on Earth. Like, I don't think so. And this just reinforces that, no, it would not even be a contest. It would be a very quick battle where Batman would not survive. So, but they're friends. They're friends. Word. All right. If you're going to New York, contact my man, Glenn. help them out. All right. Next one. These are just sort of like, Jim Lee kind of keys. That'd be a nice one to get signed. The Red Sonja cover. This one, everybody points to, first Omega Red appearance as like the key book. It's X-Men 4. But if you ask me, I think his second appearance, I mean, it's not really Omega Red's first appearance. Omega Red appears in a sort of a marketing promo panel in X-Men 1. Just people didn't know, they didn't know who that character was. They find out 3 issues later, oh, it's this dude named Omega Red. So yeah, it's his first like in-story appearance on number 4. And this is his second in-story appearance, first cover appearance. And if you ask me, this is just the book you want. I mean, I have 4 and 5, but I think in terms of like, if you were to choose between those 4, I would want 5 more than anything else, just because of the cover. Look at that adamantium skull showing up. It's just, oh, and you got the adamantium tendons, or what would you call them? I guess the bones. I guess they're tendons. You'd use tendons to retract muscle and claws and stuff like that. But that's just badass right there. That image. Now this is high grade. This is something like if you were to do a signature series where we'd submit a book and want it come back slabbed in high grade, that would be this book. It's such a tough choice. I'm just gonna float it over here as we're doing a mental inventory of, like looking at the books, just seeing like where my heart is and what my heart's telling me. Okay, we got to get this signed. That we'd love to get signed. I've got a lot of high grade books. This is another one I need candidate for a CGC signature book, and it is a nice cover. It's a Jim Lee cover there. That's another one we just love to get slabbed and signed. Although we're not feeling good about CGC right now. I honestly think with all the problems CGC has, if they don't drop their prices, it's just not going to motivate me to even use them anymore. Because they've done nothing but raise prices since the pandemic, and we're heading now toward lower, interest rates potentially this year. So I just think they need to, with all the debacle around their process, the integrity of their grades, they need to take a step back and not think about the bottom line, but think about their customers and the value of what their service is, because I think it's not as valuable as it once was. So they continue to raise prices on this new process, this new sort of Fort Knox type process, which I don't think we'll see this year. It'll be probably a year before we see new slabs and labels and all that. But anyway, so again, these are books would be not ideal for the yellow label and getting a signature like in that aspect. But as of now, we're not. I'll just put that on the sidelines. Is that something we could do? Now this book is also polybagged, and it's just another great cover here. A cover that you don't see Jim Lee working on, and I love the fact that Jim Lee did the Snake Eyes visor. It's Snake Eyes versus Batman. Jim Lee goodness. Man, who are you calling in this battle? I gotta go with Snake Eyes, man. Gotta go with Snake Eyes. And again, this would be a great book to get signed. It is again in that poly bag. There's a hole in the poly bag, so it gives me an excuse to open the poly bag up at least. Why is there a hole in the poly bag? It's not damaged there, I don't think. Just interesting how things like that happen. Just got punctured somehow. Anyway, it's just a cool cover. You probably will not get this signed. It would be a great candidate though. I can see a lot of people would want to get that signed. Me being one of them, but we won't go that route. All right. These are both great candidates as well. I know this is one Na Man Hyung got signed. Beautiful signature, by the way. You got two of the books I really want to get signed. Oh, okay, maybe. Well, that's good to know. I hope it was on purpose. It looks like a deliberate kind of thing, like a mass production kind of boom 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 boom. So we got this one as a potential candidate. This one as well. They're both kind of key books. I would lean toward this. So 268 was my first introduction to Jim. This book here, as I was mentioning earlier, not 258 but 268. And yeah, I just remember this. This is just from page 1 to page what is it, 28, 56. It was just freaking incredible. It was just like you were just absorbed into that story. Really, really key stuff. All right, so next ones. This is like these are all great books, actually. Let me just kind of filter through some of this stuff here. All right, so we have this book here. Now, a lot of you are asking me, what's significant about this book? This is Sexy Psylocke's first cover appearance in the new suit. So, Jim, one of the things Jim is credited with is the redesign, sort of the reimagining of Psylocke. It's not this sort of like, effeminate, kind of with like psychic kind of powers, who always kind of gets into battle and gets herself into like trouble, needs to be rescued. But just one of the badassest assassin, femme fatale type assassins out there. And she's Asian. She went from being British, kind of like ambiguous British person, to full on Asian. Or I would like to say she's biracial, right? I think of like an Olivia Munn, literally like an Olivia Munn, somebody who's like, half white, half Asian, but more toward the Asian side, and just sexy as hell, like Olivia Munn. Olivia Munn casting of Olivia Munn for Psylocke. I mean, that was just a brilliant casting. I won't go into whether the character was well written or that movie in terms of the, how it was in terms of production, but that casting, if they do keep Psylocke in the MCU, I would hope they would recast uh, Olivia Moon. She's a mom now. Not that that makes any difference, but um, you know. All right, so we have that, and then we have Grifter Sheep. Another. This is sort of a book that, for me, would make sense because not everybody's going out and getting this book signed. You get to catch my drift. Um, but Grifter is another one of Jim's original characters, creations. I think his real sort of his like main image character that has, if you're talking about like just image characters that can stand alone on, you have a be their own standalone series or just significance away from the team. That's Grifter, the weapons specialist. Boom. That would be a great book to get signed. But all kinds of, anyway, we're just putting all the options out there. The next are two books, much like the first cover appearance of Psylocke. This is the first work on Superman and Batman by Jim. First Batman cover and first work on Batman in comic books by Jim. Batman Black and White #1 from 1996, I believe. Yep. This kind of would precursor, or I guess what is the word I'm looking for? It would kind of signal his transition to DC, interestingly enough. Yeah, and this one was 2001. Kind of as, so, he sold Wildstorm to DC, and then he joined DC, kind of like, I guess, when you sell a company, you don't leave the company, you kind of go in as an advisor and kind of oversee the transition and maybe continue to contribute to the business. And that's what Jim Lee was doing. And now he's, he kind of did the crossover and now leading both, like all the IP, right? Essentially. What we have here is a newsstand copy of Jim Lee's first Superman. And I've said all along, when you look at Jim Lee's career, people might point to like Batman as his signature character, but you know where my heart lies. I'm Superman through and through. And so for me, his first work on Superman is significant, like his first work on X-Men, like his first work on Punisher. All these things are, in my opinion, very crucial to an artist's career. But yeah, this is just a great cover. Not your typical, Scott Williams, Alex Sinclair cover, but Jim Lee cover nonetheless. He'd bring the crew together eventually and form that brand, the Lee Williams Sinclair brand. It's a brand. It's essentially like a brand in and of itself. This one's a good candidate. It's just a Wildcats trade paperback. Again, probably not going to have too many of these first edition books signed. I'd have to get it out of the polybag as well. This one's polybagged. So not the best candidate, I don't think, for what we want to accomplish. But we're trying to keep our options open here. Be open-minded. All right. Let me know your thoughts, by the way. I'm just kind of doing this here as I show off my books, but I'm very curious to know. I've been showing off. All right, Young. I'll talk to you later, man. Good night. Let me know which books you think I should get signed. because your feedback will influence me. It will make me kind of reevaluate things, maybe kind of take another perspective on it. But right now, with all the books that we've said we want to get signed, we only have really 3 sort of books uh, under consideration, which is really strange. But I think we're gonna whittle it down here a little bit more here. This one I mentioned it's my uh, Countdown to Infinite Crisis, signed by Alex Ross. I'd love to get Jim's signature on it and just have it be a double signed book, but we'll see. That's another option. All right, here's a book that warrants serious consideration, and that is Punisher War Journal number 6. This is not his first Wolverine cover, but what makes this significant is, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is his first cover with Scott Williams on inks. So this is a great book to get Jim Lee and Scott Williams, both of their signatures on this book. It's their first cover, right, on what would literally become just a lifetime's worth of working together, right? This came out, 87? So we're talking 10, 20, 30, in about 3 years' time, is going to be a 40-year career that they've worked together. That's like a marriage. It's a professional marriage, essentially. So this is, this just screams, get it signed. It's just screaming. It's like adamantium screeching to get signed, because it's a beautiful cover there. All right, so I think I'm going to put it in the under consideration pile. This one, I love the cover, but I don't think we're there yet. It's not, I can see a lot of people getting this signed because they're Thundercats fans or they're Jim Lee fans. It's a great cover, don't get me wrong. It's just, out of all the books out there, I don't think it's one that we'd want to prioritize at the moment. I already mentioned this book. He's a potential candidate. This is another one. This is his first interior work, full interior work, Alpha Flight 51. But I think rather than get this book signed, I'd rather get 53, his first cover and full interior work signed. That's, I think, the bigger book. So Wolverine cover as well. But no, we're going to hold off on getting those signed. This is one in my previous video I said you want to get signed because it's the first cover appearance by Jim Lee. It's Jim Lee's first cover appearance. And we have Scott Williams and Will Spertatio there as well. Pretty cool cover. And I was mentioning this would be a fun one to get Jim Lee, president of DC Comics, because it'd be a Drake song. It'd be like, we started from the bottom, now we're here, right? It'd be like outlining a career that started here from the dregs of Marvel to the top of DC. And yeah, he just looks like, he just drew himself to look like a little kid there in a candy store, appreciating the fine female form. known as Sexy Psylocke with the PS. All right, so that is one we're gonna get signed for sure. All right, so we're getting our little signature pile here. It's looking, it's coming along here. I think we're making some progress. These are all great. This is just great because it's a San Diego Comic Con exclusive, so you know there's just not going to be a lot of these books available. So to get it signed is just it makes sense, and it's my favorite freaking character of all time. It's a beautiful like black and white image as well. That would pop in black ink. You know, Jim Lee, president of DC Comics. So we're getting this book signed. That just been taking long for me to even, you know, it's a no-brainer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. So we're kind of at the again, if we're assuming he's going to do an 8-book platinum, if we're getting the $500 platinum package, we have room for 2 more books now, and so got to be very selective on what we pick. These final 3 are all, so it'll be 2 of these 3, and oh man, it's a tough one. It'll be 2 of these 3, I think. Well, no, we've got some other candidates, but we'll go over the other candidates as well. In fact, actually, one of the candidates is right here. Let me get it out. I think it's on the bottom here. Yep. There we go. All right. So got some books to really gotta nail down and prioritize some stuff here. All right. So you just need to pick 2. We got 4 books here. You need to pick 2 out of 4. And I'm going to add a 5th to it. I'm going to add a 5th. All right. I'll start with this one. Superman 205, Michael Turner variant. This is Lee's run on Superman with Brian Azzarello. I personally liked it. A lot of people had issue with it. And I could see why people had issue with it. It is sort of a story that kind of, it's not that linear. It kind of goes here and there and here and there, and it tries to keep you like kind of guessing about what's happening when it's obvious. Like, you know, it's kind of obvious to me where it was going. But it's just a beautiful cover first and foremost. I mean, just having Michael Turner. So it's got Michael Turner's signature at the moment. Just to be able to add Jim's signature there as well. I think we'd want it in silver as well, like right next to Michael's, along the trade dress. On this one, we wouldn't necessarily need President of DC Comics signed. Just having Michael and Jim's signature there as a double signed book would really, really feel good. All right, so that's potentially a candidate. This is another one. I mean, this is only one because it's a rare, it's a double 608 609 double feature cover. sort of a rare. Hey, what's up, Kenneth? Thanks for hanging out, man. I don't want to say it's rare, but it is like typically not something you see, you run across all that often. So to get that signed would kind of be cool. It's technically the first appearance of Hush in these pages, even though those are kind of a reprint of both issues. I just like the background. It's got the villain's background. He's got the gargoyle there. These are just hard decisions. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. I don't know if I've actually even made a decision on any of these yet. Kind of just want to keep all my options open. This is another one because you know we love Psylocke. We've got the Psylocke trading card variant cover here. Again, they took all of Jim's like quote unquote work from Marvel at Marvel. They had him do all these comic book cards. They had him do all these covers and stuff. They own that art, and they continue to like bank off of it. Case in point, right? I definitely wanted to get this book. It's just a beautiful book. There is a Deadpool trading card variant as well of his, which we want. We had an opportunity. We'll have that get for I think for $20, but I was thinking maybe there's an opportunity at some point to maybe pick it up for less, but we'll see. There's a lot of that one out there, so I'm not terribly too focused on it. This one I had to get. I just had to get it. It's just so awesome to look at. This is another one that would be nice signed, just signed, not like President of DC Comics or anything like that. So we'll see. So this is sort of the no-brainer, kind of like you have to get this book signed. It's my favorite cover by Jim Lee at Marvel, hands down. And it's such an iconic image. It's just, you've seen it everywhere. Video games, T-shirts, comic book promos for Wolverine, just that image right there. Wolverine 27. So this is high grade. Again, this, I think, for this particular signing event, since we're just going to keep them raw, this might not make the best sense. This is something, a book that you would want to slab because it's such a high grade book. So this was on my list to get. Like, if again, I had three priority books. It was this one, Marvel Age, and I think we wanted to get, what was the other one we wanted to get signed? I think the Action Comics, right? Yeah, I think I want to get those three signed. No. It was this book, this our next book. So I'm still kind of leaning toward that. I'm still kind of leaning toward this. Yeah, we'll kind of go through the stack again. All right, the next book. This is a no-brainer. This is one we're definitely getting signed. That is Batman Detective Comics 1000. Now, I showed you before I had Action Comics 1000 Superman, and then we have Detective Comics 1000 Batman. So just a nice, to have the Jim Lee signature in one and have this Batman complement that. It's a no-brainer. The other thing that makes this really awesome is we'd have Jim Lee and Neil Adams on a book together signed. So this is signed, currently signed by Neil Adams, Alex Malik, and Peter Tomasi. Triple signed book. There's Neil's signature right there. And this is one where we'd get Jim to sign President of DC Comics, somewhere maybe over here at the top with the DC logo. Boom. So this is a no-brainer. This is getting signed at the event for sure. All right. I kind of said like, yeah, I'm getting these signed, and then I'm kind of like, I know I'm waffling, and I'm sure I'll readjust. Again, we got 8 books. It seems like a lot, but at the same time, not really. So let's go through these again. We're going to try to nail it down to 8 in anticipation of that. Hopefully they do a 9-book platinum. I just think 9 would just make it so much easier. Yeah, I'd just make it so much easier. But we'll see. It should be 9. 9 times 50 is, well, 45. 45. Right? Yeah, 9 times 50 is 45. So I guess 8 times 50 would be 400. Oh no, but they're charging 500 for 8 books. Yeah, so they should at least charge 9. They should at least get 9 books for 8 books. I don't see why 500, headshots. Like, I'm not sure. I gotta ask Hyung what the headshot is. It like actual like sketches that you're getting then? That would be worth it then, for getting sketches. But all right, so we've got Punisher War Journal number 18. Bon Voyage to Punisher. We've got Wolverine. This is just the back pinup that we're getting signed. So you just would never see the signature. It'd be stuck behind we just know that it's there. Someone looking at this book wouldn't know. So, but again, it'd be a triple signed book. You get Larry, Jim, and Mark Silvestri. So that's another one like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel as like satisfying because you don't see the signature on the book. You just know it's there in the back. And if it's one of those instances, do we really need to get it signed in the back? So I'm kind of, all right, this is a no-brainer. We're getting this signed for sure. So we got the detective, we got the action signed for sure. This would be good for one of those like Scott Williams, Jim Lee events. Because like I mentioned, this is the first cover by Jim and Scott together. And that just makes it significant. So you'd want both their signatures on it. You just wouldn't want Jim Lee's signature. You'd want to get Scott and Jim's. The thing is, I had the opportunity to get Scott and Jim's signature last year during their CGC signature event, which was in September. I just didn't have money. Yeah, it was really exorbitant. It was $120 just to get Jim's signature. So you're going to add Scott Williams. I think it was another $50 or $60 on top of that. So you're looking at like a $200 book for 2 signatures, and I'm just kind of like, I'd rather just meet them at a show and get it signed. But then again, when is that ever going to happen? So, and this is not slab worthy. This would come back like an 8.5, around there. That's a tough one. Yeah, and this is just a book you'd want to get both artist signatures. It's a Scott. It's definitely a Jim and Scott book. So if Scott's not going to be at Rose City, then this book can kind of wait. I think there'll be more opportunities for their book. I know they're always at San Diego, so if I ever do a trip down to San Diego, it won't be this year, but if we ever do that, that would be a great candidate to get signed then. All right, so I think we're going to go with this one for sure. That's going to join the list of books to get signed. I think we got to go with this one too. Yeah, this one would be great. Just in the blank, I'm just imagining it in the black or silver ink on this. That would just really pop on that cover. All right, so hang on. So we've got how many books here? We've kind of decided on 4 books already. Okay, so we were 4 books in. I want to go over some other potential books we could get signed. There's another one here as well. All right, so as I mentioned, I have some signed books already, and some of these books would just really, I think, benefit from having Jim Lee's signature on it. And so we'll go through it. Here's one where you have Chris Claremont signature, X-Men 133. And it would just feel right because they work together on many books. Although has nothing to do with Jim Lee, in a lot of ways, the yellow suit, Wolverine cover, just kind of feels right. So it'd be just cool to have Jim and Chris sign signatures on the same book. But again, not related to Jim's, so we're not necessarily prioritizing it. But hopefully someday we'll get to that point where, okay, let's get this book signed now by Jim. Hopefully we get to that point. I mean, these are all books I eventually want to get signed. Everything I've shown you here is like something we're just kind of working slowly toward. I'd love to have all these books signed by Jim. When it's all said and done, we'll have to see. All right. Here's another one. We want a book with Jim and Neil's signature on them both. And we really wanted to get both their signatures on the Superman book. I just don't have Neil's signature on many. I don't have them on any Superman books except this one. And that Batman. This is Action Comics 359. Beautiful Neil Adams cover here. And again, Jim Lee, president of DC Comics. Like the DC Bullet logo on this, I don't think would necessarily make the most sense. I just think Neil's signature on this as a standalone is just the best way to have the book. So as much as we'd want Jim and Neil on a Superman book together, I think I just want to keep this a Neil book. Because it essentially is his book. So that I'm glad we kind of spoke through that and landed on that. Because this is a book I've just kind of been waffling on, like, should I get it signed? Should I not get it signed? And I'm happy with it just being a New Items signed book. So that we're happy to leave as is. And this one too, I was thinking if there's a book that we'd want to get signed where we could say Jim Lee, president of DC Comics, it'd be this book. It's really like, this is my Wolfman Perez double signature sign book on a key issue of the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And yeah, I mean, this is such a great series. Where else are you gonna like bring in characters from the Golden Age and like, kind of, like bring in characters that just have nothing to do with each other that are in the DC universe, but bring them into this like story where like time and different Earth timelines, or I should say different multiverses, are converging. It's just a great series. And so for me, like, it represents DC at its best. But Jim Lee did not work on the book. So it'd be kind of like Jim Lee, president of DC Comics, and it just feel like a third wheel on really what is like the meat and potatoes of the book, the Wolfman Perez signature, right? So I kind of was waffling and thinking hard about this one as well. It'd be great to have like Jim Lee's signature with these two legends, but no, this book feels just perfect with just, Wolfman Perez on the book. Jim Lee was with Marvel at this time. It just, if we're going to do Jim Lee, president of DC Comics, there's a lot of other worthy books to get a signature like that on. Doesn't necessarily have to. I could just see like a lot of collectors being like, "Oh, wow, you got Wolfman Jim Lee," and then just kind of be like, "Wow, you kind of marred the value of that," or just why, right? So even though I love Jim Lee, and I think, again, it'd be just like a president of DC. Literally, it'd just be like, "Hey, I work for DC, so I'm just signing this book," kind of thing. I don't think it makes the most sense on this particular book. So, having said that, we'll put this one back up here as well. That is really just an amazing book to have. I know it's not the only one, but it's just, for me, like, that's what you want. And on that book, if you're going to have any signature on that book, those are the two you want for sure. Okay, so this one is an interesting one. So as you know, George Perez, he did the interior work on this Infinite Crisis. Jim Lee did a set of parallel complementary variant covers along with Perez. So this one has Perez's signature. This one would feel right if we got Jim Lee's signature on. It'd be Perez and Lee. And this would feel right because, again, these are both, this is the cover artist. Perez did the interiors. This one we could actually do Jim Lee, president of DC Comics, and have the DC Bullet logo and all that. And it just feel right? This one too. So I think This one wasn't one we were considering, but it feels the more I think about it, the more it feels right. So I think we just found our fifth book. How many books are over here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 books that were getting signed by Jim. Yeah, this all feels good. Everything feels good here, right here. I'm looking through. This is one where again, we have this COA. I would get Jim Lee, president of DC Comics, get the DC Bullet logo on here, and he's got a connection to the book already here on the COA as well. Just would feel really, it'd feel really good to get this one signed. So, and of course, this is a no-brainer. All right, so we've got 5 books, 5 books that we've landed upon. So 3 more to go. I think we can go ahead and add Wolverine to the mix. Okay, that's 6. I think we can add. This is another tough one. This is one we kind of like to do as a standalone, as a Michael Turner standalone. Feels good. I don't think we need, even though Jim Lee did work on this book, we already have the 204 signed on this run. And I don't want to take any, this is a Turner's cover. I don't want to take anything away from Turner on this book. So I think we'll keep this just signed by Turner. Doesn't need to be a double signed book for my own appeasement. All right, so we've got actually some room to work with here. I thought we'd be like, trying to decide, okay, which ones are we going to get signed? Now it's kind of like, all right, which ones do we add? I'm going to kind of, some of these are just like, let's take a look at these again. This is one we could feel good to get signed. This one we're eventually going to do. Eventually. I'm going to just go with my gut on this and first Superman feels like it should be on the list. We've got the Action Comic. First Batman 2, that'd be a great one here to do. First work on Batman. It's getting tough. It's getting real tough. I think we're going to, so we have what, bandwidth for 2? That's 6 right now. I'm going to go 6, 12. I just thought of another book I want to add. All right, give me just 1 minute, guys. All right. All right, so we're down to 3 books here. We got to pick 2 out of these 3. I'm actually going to let you, the viewer, decide. Okay, so we got 3 books left, and we're going to pick 2 of these 3. So you guys get to vote in your choice. Yes, it's an image book. So we got Wildcats 12. It's just a great grifter cover. It's one of my favorite covers by Jim. It's kind of in the Wolverine vein. Like, if you're talking about iconic covers at Marvel, that probably takes the cake. If you're talking about iconic covers at Image, I think this is a no-brainer. I think it's this Image, hands down. Yeah. So that's one. We got the Superman. Sorry. Batman 612. The Superman choking out Batman cover. And we've got Amazing Heroes. Great X-Men cover here with sexy Psylocke. All great signed candidates. I don't think, again, 2 of these 3 are going to go get signed. I'm going to let you decide. So how you can basically put in your vote or give your 2 cents worth is just in the comments, either here in the comments for the live chat, or in the comments if you're rewatching this, in the comments below. Just let me know, okay, of these 3 books, you get to pick 1. So I'll just count up all the votes. Actually, no, you have to pick 2. Pick 2, and we'll take the 2 with the most votes. They're all great candidates. I think I'm leaning toward this one, though, a little bit. As I'm looking at them, just kind of leaning toward this one. Because this is a $1 book. This is not really a major key in the run either. Just for me, I just love that cover. But this one kind of hits everything. It's just a great cover. It's sort of key. It's not one of those books you see every day, and that's kind of like why I picked this one as well. These are kind of in the same, it's like one of his more rare books. It's a key. It's a great cover. They're characters I like. So, yeah, it's kind of where we are. So, again, out of those 3, vote for 2 that you like. All right, Miss O, I have your vote registered. Amazing Heroes. Would you also go with the Batman or the Wildcats? This one or this one? They're both great. They're just both great. Ugh, I know this one, like, at the end of the day, this one is, you're not going to see many signed books in this one. But then again, I already have a grifter cover signed. It's not as badass looking as this one. It's just sort of him kind of firing off around, but I think this would be good to just kind of put in between my 2 signature books. As like, that's the other one we could. I just totally forgot. this is the other one we could get signed. Now, I am going to get this signed, whether it's this signing or down the road. And the reason I think I can wait on this is because so this is, Jim announced this is the third part of this Trinity, and it's a connecting cover. So there used to be a mirror images, but he kind of put Wonder Woman in between and made it a tri-connecting cover, which is brilliant for the Trinity. And I just thought, man, what a way to kind of close the loop and come full circle on this great image here, the mirror images here. So this was like high on my priority of things to get. Now I have the foil variant as a full foil cover as well as a trade dress. I want to get the trade dress signed, but I want to get the trade dress signed and slabbed, which I'm not going to do at Rose City. I'm not going to get any of these books slabbed. So this can wait. I could get this just raw copy signed, the foil signed. Man, so many choices. But I know if I get this foil signed, it's just going to give me less motivation to get this one slabbed and signed. I think I need motivation to get this one slabbed and signed because I definitely want it as that third piece there. So I think if CGC announces another Lee Williams Sinclair event, this would be a great book to get the Trinity of that brand signed and slabbed as the third piece in this. That makes sense to me. And then we could get that Wolverine signed as in that submission as well for the Williams and Lee. As a big lift in terms financially, but hopefully we'll earn enough this summer to do it. Just put that money off to the side and save it for that rainy day when that announcement is made. So I think I'm just thinking this through with you guys, like talking out loud and thinking it through for new books. Yeah, I'm not the biggest new comic book day person these days. I used to be like everything that came out, I do my research and come up with the list of things I want to get at on new comic book day. But I kind of just now I'm more trying to get stuff from my era of collecting and things that I want to add from the past. I do collect modern books, but if they're like Jim Lee books or artists I like, I will do that from time to time. But I think we have, I think we have our selection of 8 books. Let me just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so assuming they do an 8-book platinum type package like they did at Baltimore Con last year for the Jim Lee signing, I mean, we could get that platinum package and another 3-book where we get 11 books signed. But that's a steep. What are we spending? Like $650 at that point. Let's just stick with 8 books for now, okay? Hopefully they add a ninth book. Hopefully. Or they do something. They finagle something where I can get an extra book. Rather, I don't necessarily need prints signed. I know they probably, you know, because those are kind of like stuff he prepares at home, and the value added with his signature. Stuff he wants to move probably, but that's not. It's fun to collect stuff like that, but it's not. I'd rather have books signed than prints. So let's just go over the 8 we have landed on so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, this is going to say Jim Lee, president of DC Comics, with the DC Bullet logo. This one also, president of DC Comics with the DC logo. That's gonna be awesome. Besides that, this will just be Jim Lee. I guess I could do president of DC. Yeah, we'll do president of DC Comics in this one as well. On the Superman as well, and then this one. Oh, that's another thing. Jim Lee, president of DC Comics. This is the Drake song. This is the Drake song cover. Okay, starting from the bottom, now we're here. All right, so, and then the last one, boom. There you go. We got our books. I'm actually going to just keep these books together right now. I might even put them in my Jim Lee bag, my Comic-Con bag, the one that the one that has his sketch on it. Not his live sketch, but just his artwork on the bag. It's a hex bag. I might just go put them in there and leave them in there because that's what we're eventually going to take down to Portland with us. But this was fun. I had a lot of fun going over these books and kind of talking through my process and filtering and landing on what we're gonna send. So thanks for hanging out with me. It's always great to see everybody and hang out in the chat. But let me know what you think of this. You know, my stack of books that I'm going to get signed, sort of what I'm planning to do. Again, I just want the Jim Lee, president of DC Comics, with the DC Bullet logo, and we're happy. That's what we're going to do. So should be all good, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.